Good morning and welcome to Papa's Custom Cars. We're on day 2 of the Trax. Replaced the spark plugs, did an oil change on it. One of the reasons I replaced the spark plug is A, they have over 100,000 miles on them, and B, because the car was hesitating, which led me to believe that it's probably the plugs. It's not throwing an engine code of any kind, but I went through everything, changed the air cleaner. It was pretty, or the air filter. It was pretty filthy. So right now I'm going to try to run a code on it. Last Christmas, my wife got me the X-Tool diagnostic tool. Since then, they've been real generous about sending me new product to try out. A lot of their new stuff is the little plug-in to the OBD Bluetooth type setups where you plug it into your car and read the codes on the phone. It doesn't do the complete job that this one does. And they've got a new one to replace this one, but this one's got updates for the next 5 or 6 or 7 years, so I don't really have to worry about getting a new one. So what's cool about it, and I'll show you kind of here, give me just a sec to readjust, is you've got your tablet. It is also Wi-Fi. Your plug-in for your OBD, your charge port, your power button, all that kind of fun stuff. This will power up all by itself the minute you plug it into the OBD and turn the car on. It comes with a cable and your OBD2 reader. You're gonna have to bear with me just a minute. I'm gonna get everything all set up down at the bottom, and then I'll come right back. Okay, so we're in the car now. I turn it on, and you get this little menu that pops up. I'm not sure how well you can read it, but it basically looks like a little screen. It's telling me there's an update available. So, of course, before we can do anything, we have to update it. There's actually 166 updates, so you want to definitely plug this in every once in a while and make sure that you got it updated. Let me make sure we're connected to the wireless. Yep, hold on a minute. It does screenshots. It's got a volume control. It has internet access, all that kind of fun stuff. I want to make sure that I'm seeing the internet. There's your Explorer. Got 2 email messages probably telling me there's updates. You've got a logger, you've got a cloud drive, sender images, all that kind of fun stuff. Like if I'm sitting here and I'm getting a code and I've got a really bad memory, like sometimes I do, I'll actually take a screenshot of it right from here. It's telling my internal storage, all that kind of fun stuff. So let's go back to the home screen. Let's go back to the Wi-Fi. Let's see how well we're doing. We're connected to the home Wi-Fi. It's a pretty good signal, so we're good there. Now we want to go to the car screen itself. And it's updating. It's at 8%. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pause you out for a little while. Let this sucker update, and then I'll come back to you. So I'll see you in a little bit. Okay. Turn on the car. Really cool system. I'm hoping you guys can see this screen. But all you have to do is hit the auto scan button, and it's going to ask you what it wants you to look at. Little red arrows denote the fact that it wants to download stuff. If you're just doing OBD2, you just go boom like this. It says initializing box. You're going to hit auto scan again. And let me back up here a little bit. Sorry, my bad. I went to the completely wrong place. Auto scan is what you want up here at the top. Give me a second. It's talking to the car. Notice that it already knows the VIN and what type of car it is. It's really cool. So okay. For those of you that have one of these, hey, you already know all this fun stuff. This one costs about $450, and I'll tell you what, just on this car alone and the Chrysler, I've saved that much money in repair work just by having one of these. You can select individual things you want to scan, or you can just hit automatic. We're going to run the automatic because we want it to check everything. So it's already giving me some red codes, as you'll see. But what it's doing is it's going through almost every single thing in the car that could possibly find. There's a body control module issue, but I saw an ECM issue at the top. Engine control module, there's a failure of some sort. So once it's done with its scan, all these diagnoses will open up, and you can actually see what's going on. There's one in the body control, but it'll light up in red anything that's got an issue. And it'll also let you clear them. There's a bunch of other stuff this thing will do. It'll do tire sensors and kill switches and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely a simple one. I'm not going to let it continue to go through all the other stuff. I'm going to go ahead and pause it and see if it will let me. No, it will not. It wants to do it all. Oh, it's scanning. So let's pause. Nope, it's not letting me pause. It wants to finish. It's got 15 out of 21 done so far. Might as well just finish it up. There's only 6 more to go, so we'll hit continue and let it continue to go. Continue. Well, while it's doing that and thinking, let's go up here and take a look at diagnosis on the engine module control. My fingers aren't, there we go. Up, it's back to doing it. Yeah, it's back to scanning. So we're going to give it a couple of minutes to finish up. Like I say, it's really kind of convenient because it's got a big old thick cord. You just kind of bend it a little bit and it'll hang right there on the steering wheel. But it's going through and checking, scanning each thing, scan the power steering module, the radio, it's scanning the radio. And it's come back with 2 failures, body control module, engine control module. Your ECM, failure number 1. What it allows you to do is diagnose what's going on. Oops. It does have the start-stop system. It's an automatic, so it's going to scan right now and see what's going on. Like I say, I'm not sure if you can see it, but let's read the ECU. Let's see, software module identifier, blah, 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 blah. It's just telling me what it is. Let's look at the history real quick. A lot of this stuff I'm learning as I go. Tell it okay, I'm going to back up. Let's back up again, read trouble code. So we're diagnosed since last. Engine misfire, there it is right there. P300. It also says remote vehicle speed limit signal message counter incorrect. So we've definitely got a misfire. It's a P300. So you can tap on that and hit report. It's already lit up. And it gives you the diagnosis report of the car. Engine misfire. So we want to see, and it's showing it as a current issue. So let's see. Fault codes. All right, let's back up. And let's back up to that one. Let's display it. Engine misfire current report. See, it even knows I'm Papa's Custom Cars. That's pretty cool. Status. Remark. All right, let's save that to our history. That's going to save the date and everything on it, and the mileage on it is not kilometers, it's miles. So we've got 189,000 miles on it. I don't think so. Let's fix that. Back it up. We've got, go to my numbers. And what's cool is if you're doing a customer's car, 117793, then tell it okay. And it'll save all this stuff, and you can actually print it out on a report. So there's your one issue. Let's get out of there. Let's jump out of there. Jump out of there. So it's a what was it, a P300? Yeah, P300. So you can actually hit the little search bar, and it's going to go to the internet, and it's going to look up on Google the misfire. So let's see. Random multiple system misfire is what it is. So you can actually Google it or what have you and go kind of look it up. So you code explain causes, symptoms, and how to fix it. Multiple places where you can look up the website to see how to fix it. They even tell you what it'll cost you to take it somewhere and have it fixed, based on what type of vehicle it is. Kind of funny. So we want to look up that code. So right at the search bar, it says a P300 code could have serious consequences. A P0300 code indicates multiple misfires. This means that other cylinder misfire codes are present and your vehicle is lacking an integral component regarding its drivability. And it does. And it's really weird because when it's cold, it runs just fine. When she gets warm, the party's over. So that kind of gives you a little bit of heads up on what I'm looking for. I'm going to go Google search it right now. I'm actually going to search it in here and find out how and where to fix it, and I'll come back to you once I do. But yeah, that's our problem. So get back with you here in a little bit. All right, back on the Chevy Trax, we had the code P0300, which meant it was a misfire. So I ran diagnostic on it, and the code reader will actually let you watch each cylinder as it fires, and it was firing or missing on different cylinders sporadically. So did some research on it. P300 is basically a blanket code for misfires and unable to identify which cylinder it is, meaning it could be anything from your crank sensor, cam sensor. What it's saying is something is out of phase and things aren't firing correctly. It suggests looking at the wiring for your coil pack first and making sure that it's firing correctly. Normally in a case like that, you'd pull each individual plug and look to see if it's firing, but unfortunately the coil pack on this engine is one piece. Now when I took it apart the first time, this particular one here basically fell apart. This came falling out of it and that kind of thing. And so I thought that was interesting. It stayed in the hole. Couple of them, like this one here, it has a little bit of burning on the inside. This particular one looked like it had water damage, meaning it had that little green film. So instead of chasing this down the rabbit hole, I took it over to the dealer and had him plug it in. At which time he told me there was absolutely nothing wrong with it. Surprise. So I told him, you got to start it up, let it warm up. Once it's warm, take it out for a drive. They did that, and boom, guess what? It started acting up. It gave them a P304, which means the number 4 cylinder. So each 01, 02, A3, A4 goes with each cylinder, and if you had an 6-cylinder, 6, 8-cylinder, 8. So it threw a 304. So that means that the number 4 cylinder is misfiring. So when I was reading the meter, it was misfiring. It would go number 2 and number 4 would misfire. Then it would go number 1 and number 3 would misfire. It was going all over the place. So in a case like that, you have to pretty much go through the diagnostic process. What I did was I didn't pull anything. I checked all the wiring to make sure that everything was secure, which it was on the cam sensor and the crank sensor. And then I started playing with the coil pack, or I pulled the coil pack. Like I said, when I changed the spark plugs, this particular one came apart. This time, this one, the rubber just sticks down in the cylinder. But if you look at the rubber, it's got a big old crack right in it, right there. I understand that this is covered by this, once you put it up in there, it's covered by this plastic, but that can't be good over long term. So judging from the code, we checked the coil pack. They have the ability to check these a little bit more in depth than I do. I don't have the tooling for it. I can't just plug my reader into this and say, okay, do this, do that. They are able to, and figured out that this is the problem. So the diagnostic cost me $140, but it's better than running around like a chicken with my head cut off trying to find it out. I took it to a professional who knows what they're doing. So I said, well, since you've got it, how much is it going to cost to fix it? And he goes, well, it's going to need the coil pack and it's going to need plugs. And I'm like, okay, how much is that? He said, well, altogether the bill will be a little over $500. Now, mind you, the diagnostic's $140 of that. Anyway, to continue on, sorry about that. We lost our battery for a second there. So anyway, I said, how much is the coil pack? Because I knew that it takes about 10 minutes to pull this thing off and put it on, so I figured it couldn't be too bad. Came back with that, like I said, it was like $560 is the amount that I saw on the sheet when I picked up the car. But he goes, it's going to be a little over $500. A little over $500 is like... So now, mind you, the diagnostic's $150, give or take a few bucks with tax. So you got $250, $350, $450, $5. So you got $350 for a coil pack. I'd already priced them online. An AC Delco unit is $149, and that's a brand new unit. So that's $300 right there. So you got $4 or $5. So that $200 to $250 that they're charging an extra is labor and markup. This thing takes 10 minutes to replace, and they're going to charge me $250. Looking around their lot, they have no cars to sell. I've had a car on order with them for almost a year now, a Chevy Bolt. When I look at their inventory on a weekly basis to see if they're in yet, they have like 6 brand new cars. So it's like my wife says, well, maybe they're just trying to make up for what they're not making in car sales, because clearly they're not. But just to kind of give you the insight of what's going on, I'll show you me putting it back together. But yeah, this is what ended up being the issue. I found one they start at $40 and run up to $80. $80 will get you a nice high performance unit. I went with the heavy duty. It's about $65. And that's the sum of my problems. $65 and 10 minutes of my time, and I fixed my car, and I saved myself $400. Yeah, $150, $250, $350, $450, $550, $400 to replace this myself. So, like I said, it cost me $60 for it. And one of the funny things is, yeah, this is imported. So are all the ones you buy. So it doesn't matter where you get it. Check the reviews. Make sure it's a good, reputable dealer. Make sure there's at least a warranty on it. And if you don't get one, just get the added one. It doesn't cost much. A few dollars here or there, it definitely save you in the long run. This coil pack is, 8 years old? So it's definitely paid for itself more than once. 116,000 miles. I bought the car with 30,000. And I bought it. It was a rental car, so that kind of tells you. But anyway, that kind of gives you a little bit of a background of what's been going on with the Trax. And now we're going to go out and we're going to put it on. So I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, I've got my new coil pack. This is what holds it on. These two tiny bolts and this plug. So all I have to do to put it back on, I need to get this out of here. There's the old stuck one. It's out. Turn this around so I can see what I'm seeing. And looking at this boot, it looked pretty rough. So to put your new coil pack on, double check, make sure there's nothing down in there like a bug or something. Just center it over your spark plugs and push it down onto the plugs. And it's fighting me because it's so new. It doesn't want to go down all the way. There she goes. I can tell they're new plugs. It's new because it's tight going on. But these two T30 bolts are what hold it on there. You see, I've already got my wrench and everything here. I always snug them up by hand first before I put a ratchet on them. I want to get them down all the way first. And you know there's no interference if you're doing it by hand. These are kind of just snugged down. They've got seals on them that seal your spark plug holes to keep the garbage out. Like I said, there was garbage in some of them. That's about it for that. That's about it for that. And when we put our plug back on, it's on there no problem, and you push your lock back down. I can get her to go in there all the way. And it's giving me grief. Let me see. It should be farther down. It's fighting me, of course. And I don't have my screwdriver to push it back. So I gotta wiggle it with my finger till I get it to lock. All right, now before I put my cover back on, I am gonna fire it up, make sure everything's hunky-dory. So let's do that first to make sure we're getting good fire. Fires up all nice and quiet. Thing I need to do is get my screwdriver and push this lock back in. I can't get it done with my finger. Idles down like it's supposed to. So now I got to do is hand the keys back to my wife and say, okay, take it for a ride. Or take it to work, I should say. But yeah, that's the repair of the Trax. She's all set and ready to go. Oh, by the way, the windshield washer fluid there was nothing wrong with it. Just operator error. So that's fixed. The only other thing I've got to do is check on the I've got to check a low tire sensor because it's been giving her fits. So that'll conclude this this episode or video, I guess you'd say. Do me a favor, like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. Hopefully we're working on the Pinto by then, but we'll see. Y'all have a good one. Thanks for visiting.